Thank you, Count Corley. I'm pleased to be able to support this bill this evening on behalf of the Green Party, and the Green Party were proud to campaign in support of repeal in 2018. And during that referendum campaign, we worked with activists from all parties and none to share that central argument that Ireland needed to listen to women and to empower them to make their own decisions about their own bodies. And the Irish people responded to that argument, and they responded with compassion, and particularly to the stories that were shared throughout that campaign. And I think collectively we worked to bring a really historic change in our country. And that work isn't yet complete. And we need to continue to listen to women and to respect their right to choose on all aspects relating to their own health care. And I reaffirm and I reiterate that term healthcare, because the 3-day waiting period, that wasn't introduced as a health measure. It was introduced as a political consideration. And we know it's not a requirement that's required by principles of care. It's not required by good clinical practice. The World Health Organization had said very clearly that these waiting periods are unnecessary, and of course the O'Shea report recommended its removal. And in speaking on this bill tonight, I should acknowledge that just a couple of weeks ago I was speaking in favour of another piece of legislation which also sought to remove the 3-day waiting period. In addition, that bill sought to address other issues that were highlighted in the O'Shea report. And while tonight's bill is more narrow in its scope than I prefer, it's important not to let perfection be the enemy of the good, and to recognise that the removal of the 3-day wait in itself is a positive step. And I would be hopeful, though, that should this bill go to committee, we would be able to look again at those other elements of the O'Shea report, and indeed add elements to this bill via amendment, in particular around the issue of fatal fetal abnormalities. And the current law in that area creates deeply traumatic circumstances that can put families and put women in incredibly difficult circumstances. And those issues aren't addressed in tonight's bill. And as I say, I look to bring forward or support amendments if this bill moves through the House, which I hope that it does, but I look to support amendments that would actually address the issue of fatal fetal abnormalities. The referendum campaign in 2018 was won through a coalition that the repeal campaign forged, and it was a prime example of the kind of progressive cooperation that we can see across political parties and indeed people who had no prior political involvement. And I hope on this particular matter tonight we see this cooperation extend to the government benches as well. I welcome the fact that a free vote is being permitted tonight. I welcome the fact that the Taoiseach has indicated that he's going to be supportive. But we need that firm commitment from government, and in particular from the Minister for Health, that if there is a positive vote on this bill at second stage, that we'll see the government engage seriously with this legislation and seriously with that central issue of the removal of the 3-day wait. And the government can demonstrate its seriousness by making sure that this bill is rapidly tabled at committee stage. In 2018, the rallying cry of the repeal campaign was "Women won't wait," and women shouldn't have to wait in 2026. And we have the opportunity now to continue the work that was begun in 2018, remove a condescending, a paternalistic approach to an already difficult decision that many women in Ireland have to make.